Come out to Pineville High School. We are getting ready for the Jamboree tonight, starting off the 2022 season. I am Doug Gann with 446 Sports, joined in the booth as I'll be all season long by the coach, Ernie Lott, who joins us today. Chuck Perkins will be doing our producing. Roger Walker handles our camera duties. And ready to get this thing going. You see the Trojans out there, a little bit of a delay in tonight's game getting it started. They had the JV game at 5 o'clock. They had the freshman game, and your Trojans looked really dominant in both of those games. Welcome into the booth, head coach Ernie Lott. Coach, you got to see some of the action in the first two games. What were your thoughts on that freshman and the JV action?
I was really surprised. Ash came out clicking on all cylinders, especially in the JV game. They just did whatever they wanted to do pretty much. And in the freshman game, it was a little more competitive, but still looked like Ash was a little bit ahead of Pineville as far as maybe number of practices or time spent on the field or whatever. And hopefully the varsity will be the same. Of course, you never know.
Well, it's an exciting night. Saw a lot of flashes of some things in the future that we'll see. Excited about tonight. Some faces that are gone, of course, being replaced, as that is football. You just continue to reload those things. We'll look at some of the Sadler Towing starters for tonight. Offensively, for the Trojans, they are somewhere. What do we do with them, Coach? And
it might have been that sheet you gave to the
on the one that got out of here. We'll look at some of the skill players for tonight. You'll see Joe Bordelon back at quarterback. The senior left-hander is set to go. At running back this year, Datlin Cunningham, number 3. Cunningham, the senior running back, getting ready to go. You'll see J.T. Lindsay with a lot of action out of there. Very excited about the wide receiving core that they have, Coach. Very excited about that group led by Marion Mingo. Eric Jones is there. Jalen Johnson, Coach, remember, they are excited about him. This is one of those cases you don't know if there are enough footballs to get it in the hands of all of the receivers this year.
Yeah, well, I saw him in the little scrimmage game they had last week, and they were airing it out, and receivers were getting open, making some nice catches. The quarterback was on the money for the most part. The only question I got is offensive line and maybe the running game, but we'll see tonight.
Looks like they are going to present the colors. They'll present the national colors. They'll do the anthem on there. Looking at the captains for the Rebels tonight, led by number 61. That's Dayton Bass.
10 looks like.
And also number 10 is Jalen Whitty. He will line up at quarterback as a signal caller for the.
We ask that you watch over these young men on the field of competition here tonight. Keep them safe. Let them be humble with good sportsmanship and have a great game. Be with our fans, our student body from both Pineville and Alexandria, and may they have a safe night after the game. We ask these in your son's precious name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
And again, they'll get down to the colors on the field. We're going to step away, take our first break of the night. When we come back, it'll be ready to get things kicked off here from Pineville High School. It is the Trojans and the Rebels. We'll be right back.
It all started with a sketch on a napkin. An idea created by 2 walk-on bench warmers. And after 10 years of hard work and perseverance to turn their dream into a reality, it's the #1 sports bar in America.
Welcome to Walk On.
Walk-ons, because everyone needs a little playing time.
The fine folks at BK Distributors want to thank all the educators for weathering the storms, so to speak, through 2020 and beyond. Thank you for your dedication to our children. The end of the school year awards are now available. Any type of award, trophies, banners, plaques, they do it all at BK Distributors. So with school almost out, that means summer leagues are in full swing. New items, same great prices, and fast turnaround. BK Distributors, Highway 20 in East Pineville.
finishing up the national anthem here and ready to get things going. And there is that familiar cannon from here in Sandy Canyon, they call it, campus of Pineville High School. And we will get a look at the captains tonight for your Trojans. Joe Bordelon, we see him out there. Chris Clark is there, and looks like Amirion Mingo is there with him. They'll bring the Trojans out just about ready to get this thing underway, Coach. And it's been a long time since that playoff loss that ended the season for the Trojans back in 2021. We'll wrap this up with a little, I guess, final preseason. They had the action against Acadiana and Neville last week, the scrimmage that they had. And now this is still not for real, but you're going to get a good taste of what they need to see.
Yeah, they look pretty sharp. Like I said last week, I didn't watch the whole scrimmage, but from what I saw, they weren't playing any weak sisters either. So both teams are that they played. Neville is always traditionally tough, and so is Caring Crow. So that was a good test for them early on, just to see where they were. And tonight against the Rebels, it'll be a contest to see who's made the most progress since the scrimmages.
Down on the field we go. The Trojans will call this one. You see the action getting ready to go.
Probably sunk in the mud.
Yeah, this field was in much better shape prior to this, but the JV game and the freshman game that were played have just have played havoc on this one.
Yeah, well, they had a pretty good rain right before we came over here, and had one of them cloud bursts. It lasted about 15-20 minutes, but it come down pretty good, and of course that soaked the field on top of what's been coming for the last 3 or 4 days. So
updating that captain, that was number 9, John Parrish, the captain for the Trojans, alongside of Chris Clark and Joe Bordelon. And Coach, the offensive sets that the Trojans have ran tonight have been impressive. Saw a lot more of that quarterback run out of both freshmen and the JV quarterbacks, and they're real impressed by the young man that led that freshman squad. The JV put up, I think, Coach, 40 points in this one. And a big shout out to my man Scott Mills. He does the Buckeye broadcast for us. He is back home on this Friday night watching things on the big screen outside. So a big shout out to Scott and Kimberly that are back on the back deck there. Trojans ready to get this thing going. Again, a lot of differences. One thing we've noticed, Coach, the kicking game. The last several years, the Trojans have been able to put the ball into the end zone. Don't really expect to see a lot of that. Jalen Johnson back deep to receive, and he is the speed threat. He is going to be a star this season. He's going to be a star on Saturdays as well. Getting ready to kick things off, Coach, is
Braylon Birch is kicking off for the Rebels.
Been a long off season. We are ready to get things going. Doesn't count for the records, but this sure is one of the better rivalries around. It's Rebels and it's Trojans, and we are underway. This one back. That's to the far side. Jalen not able to get to it. That is Clark that's going to make his way a correction. That's JT Lindsay. Lindsay will have it, and Lindsay's going to get out to the 37-yard line, and that's where this Trojan offense will begin. 2 15-minute halves they'll play, a 15-minute intermission in there. That's the way that the Jamborees are ran in this one. The Trojans will start out 1st and 10. They're going to come out with that spread offense, and that we've seen a lot through the last few years. Mingo, the lone receiver, to the top. You've got, correction, they've got a slot that's up there. So two to the top, 2 to the near side. Joe steps back and gets the ball over to Mingo. Mingo's got it down the sideline before he is pushed out of bounds at midfield. They're going to mark him just shy of it, so a good 12, give him about a 12, 13-yard pickup, and here comes that NASCAR offense.
Yeah, that's even though they've lost offensive and defensive coordinators, like I say, the scrimmage looks the same. They opened up with a passing game, and I think they threw it about 6-7 times in a row. So
Mingo and Washington to the near side. High snap, but it is corralled by Bordelon. The handoff goes to Cunningham, and he's banging his way through. He's going to pick up 8 yards. That gets Harrington off the field. So they'll go with their, looks like their 5 receiver set. 3 to be to the near side. Lone receiver to the top, Bordelon back again, and he's looking to the inside slot man, and that ball is complete. Another Trojan first down. It is going to be complete to Jimmy Duncan. We saw flashes of brilliance from Duncan as he would come in and play the later portions of that game. Another one of those exciting receivers.
They're trying to cover the slot man with the safety, and he's about 12 yards deep. They got that quick slant all night long.
Two receivers offset stack to the near side, and now going in motion is Mingo. He settles back into the backfield. He's going to get the handoff around the side. Good lead block out there, and that's going to get Mingo brought down just shy of it. Good job of blocking out there by Cunningham, Coach.
Yeah, that's number 3. Cunningham got him around the corner. Hello.
13:31. You see the clock up in the top not working, so we'll keep you updated on that. Give him 8 yards on the inside handoff to Mingo. Mingo and E.J. Scott stacked to the near side. One receiver is Johnson. He is a lone receiver. Harrington settles back into the H-back spot, and Cunningham there behind him. 14 seconds on the play clock and counting. Handoff goes to Cunningham. He's going to bust his way up the middle, and he's got a seam. Spinning around down to the 11-yard line. Going to be another Trojan first down, and here they are on the move, similar to the first 2 contests that we saw.
Safety was made a saving tackle there. It had been 6.
A lot of havoc with the lights going on and off. 12:46 and counting. First half. We'll play 2 halves in this one. Bordelon leading those Trojans on a pretty good drive. He brings Mingo back in motion where he settles in. Fakes a handoff. Now Joe rolling along. Good pass to the near side. It is complete out to Cunningham out of the backfield. He'll pick up 5 on the play. So they are able to get the first down, Coach. They were just outside the 10-yard line, about the 10.5, but they're thinking get in the end zone here and don't get first and goal from inside the 1. Cunningham, the lone back with Joe. Joe barks some signals and now looks to the far side. Harrington has come up to a true tight end. Now you've got 6 across the front line. Mingo, the slot. Handoff goes to Cunningham. Trying to outrun the Rebels to the end zone. Unable to get there, but it will be that first down that we talked about inside the 1.
Nice recovery by the Pommel defense that time to stop him, mark him short.
Well, they mark him just shy of it. Didn't think he could get in between the stick and the end zone. 11:38 to go until halftime. Joe calls for it. High snap, but corrals it. Now getting into the end zone is Cunningham, and that's the first Trojan touchdown of this ball game. Touchdown, Trojans. Touchdown, Adeline Cunningham. Again, big shout-out, Coach, to our sponsors. Of course, our title sponsors in this one, Walk-Ons and Saddlers Towing. You look up in the corner, you see our Wallace Eye Associates scoreboard. You'll be able to keep up with the score all season long and all 3 of our broadcasts right there, courtesy of Wallace. They've got Mingo back in the swinging gate. They run the gate. Going to get into the end zone for the 2-point conversion, 8-0. Trojans take an early lead, capping off a fine first drive. We'll be right back after this. You're watching Ash Trojan Football on 446 Sports.
The fine folks at BK Distributors want to thank all the educators for weathering the storms, so to speak, through 2020 and beyond. Thank you for your dedication to our children. The end of the school year awards are now available. Any type of award, trophies, banners, plaques, they do it all at BK Distributors. So with school almost out, that means summer leagues are in full swing. New items, same great prices, and fast turnaround. BK Distributors, Highway 20 in East Pineville behind Arby.
Back to live action we go. Trojans with a very impressive 65-yard drive. They lead this one 8-0. Saw them go for 2 a lot in this one. And again, Coach, we said that kicking game, we'll see how that works out. Maybe a little bit more aggressive this year out of necessity.
Yeah, well, they've been fortunate to have a good kicker for the last 2 or 3 years, and this kid does a decent job. He gets it down on the kickoff to around the 15, but it's not like putting it in the end zone or having to start all over again. And here this one's going to go to about the 15.
Yeah, you nailed it to the 15-yard line. Here comes that kick coverage team of the Trojans, and not going to get out of there. The turnovers led the way in the first couple of ball games. And again, not a traditional jamboree. It was the Pineville and Ash JVs who played the first game. Freshman squads played the second. And now the varsity will square off for two 15-minute halves, if you will.
I hate to say it. This used to be the big, Rapides Parish rival. We had Tioga used to play in it, and Pineville and Ash, and I don't know. Now everybody's trying to get their own jamboree going, I guess.
Yeah, there is, and this is good for the rivalry, which is odd. These two will meet up again later on in the season, as they are district foes. Two receivers to the near side for the Rebels. They start from the 20, but not before. A little bit of laundry against the Trojans.
They had a little problem with that. Apparently the lineman can't look in and see the ball. They get their head in the neutral zone.
They'll call encroachment against the Trojans in this one, and that'll give 5 yards to the Rebels. They'll start first down and 5 from their 25. Whitty in at quarterback. That is Jalen Whitty, the junior quarterback for the Rebels. That's an inside handoff, though. Catches a direct snap, and that's Tydarius Harden that gets that one. A little bit of trickeration. And we saw that direct snap coach a lot of times in those first two games, and that's actually for a loss of a couple. So the defensive coordinator's brand new defensive coordinator, not new to the defense, but Josh Mercer elevated to defensive coordinator in the offseason when Dwayne Severio retired, and then went across the river here to LCU, where he is coaching that defense.
Yeah, like I say, they've lost the defensive and offensive coordinators, but so far it looks like the guys have stepped in and doing a good job. I think Kent coach is calling the plays. Of course, they're getting help from the press box up here.
Second down and 6, and a lot of motion. Looked like the Washington team from years past. More motion by the Rebels, and going to get a delay called as the play clock down to 0. And so all of the penalty yardage, Coach, that the Rebels had is now gone away, and they're actually behind the sticks on second down.
Yeah, well, that's some of the things you run into early in the season. Working on the clock in practice, you forget about getting it off in 25 or 40, depending on the situation. But
8-0.
They'll get better as it goes on.
In this one, you won't see a score posted up at the top of it because the scores in the jamborees they don't keep up with. 10:28 to go in this one. Snap is back direct again, and the Trojan interior line is right there. Big job, Chris Clark coming up. A little bit of a difference, as you know, it's anchored in the middle by Wyatt Dozart, but one of the big additions to this team in the offseason was the young man that came out of the Cedar Creek area, Bryce Rushing, number 5, and all of the talent in the world along that defensive line. And it helps out the linebackers and that secondary. And we'll talk more about those as we get to the Thomas Bachman Show Thursday night. That will be live from Walk-Ons at 7 o'clock. We invite you to come out and hang out with us just a little bit. But all through the season, it will be on our YouTube page, our Boxcast, and, of course, our Facebook. Snap is back. Woody's got a quick throw over to the near side, but the tackle's cut up and made.
Got some nice help from the safety coming over that time to help out. Otherwise, he might have spun out of it and picked up the first down. It's going to be fourth and about 5.
That's going to bring out the punt team for the Rebels. And we saw some aggressiveness with that Trojan team in the first couple of games. Came back after and
got some issues, I think.
Yeah, it'll be fixed when we have the recording of it posted a little bit later. Good coverage by that Rebel team, and they're going to drop.
He was lucky to catch that one, and they were tackling it immediately, and lucky he didn't fumble the ball.
That was Darius Washington on the return.
My big thing, special teams, is very important. They're working on the lights here. They're trying to get the lights turned on downstairs, I think, for the concession.
And they're fiddling with everything else here. But Randy James going to take care of things out there for you.
Straighten them
out. The voice of the Rebels, voice of the Wildcats. Randy James taking charge here. 1st and 10. Your Trojans will have it from the 49-yard line. Cunningham gets the ball. He's sweeping around the outside. Got a seam to the middle. Goes Cunningham. He's to the 20. Now 10. 5, and you could put that one in the end zone, Adeline. Cunningham, touchdown. Touchdown, Trojans.
And that didn't take long.
14-0 now following that one if you're scoring at home.
Curious to see if they're going to work on the kicking game or they're going to go for 2 here. It looks like I don't see the kicker coming out. So
a little bit of John Bachman Sr. in him and just go for it every time on there. So they will direct snap. It's going to be to Mingo, and he's going to get in. 2-point conversion is good. 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions on 2 drives. Trojans lead this one 16-0. Just about 6 minutes in. We'll be back right after this.
Buying car insurance for the first time can be overwhelming. Do you have enough coverage? Are you paying too much? Will someone be there for you when the unexpected happens? I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. You may think it's easier online, but why wait? We're here to help you make sure you're covered. When it comes to car insurance, we have the answers, and we may have rates that save you money. So talk to Hawk at 318-791-HAWK or online at talktohawk.com and let us help you protect your biggest investments.
And we are back to Pineville High School. Trojans with a couple of touchdowns on their opening drive. Daniel Crenshaw set to put this one into play. Again, Coach called it, said he gets the ball to about the 15, and he does it yet one more time where that is where the Rebels will field it.
Ooh.
Spun around. Good opportunity for the Trojans on that kickoff, that kick return, but a good job of running up, getting into it, picked up 10 yards on the return, and the Rebels look to start there from their own 25. So, Coach, take me through the first couple of drives.
Didn't take long. That's all I can say. It was a couple of big plays, which that's depend on the big play. They got a lot of speed, both in the receivers and the backfield.
Well, you had a 1-play drive on the second one, but you put together about an 8-play drive on that first one and mixed things around a little bit. So flashes of efficiency on offense for these Trojans. Rebels trying to get something going. They will start things off trying to hurry off one of their players. You knew they would hold on to that snap.
Uh-oh, and they got another flag. Rebels not looking real sharp right now. They got a lot of miscues, too much time in the huddle.
Illegal participation, they'll call that one. So, but again, we talked to former coach at LC, former coach here with our offensive coordinator for the Trojans and now head coach of the Panthers at Buckeye. One of our broadcast teams as well. They're going to take 6 minutes in, they'll take a timeout. I tell you what, we'll get with our sponsors here, take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk to you about that. We'll be back.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
And so we are back to live action following the hydration timeout. It came 6 minutes into the game. 5-yard penalty was prior to that. First down and 15. Back to the 20-yard line and another penalty flag, and it's going to be encroachment against the Trojans. That'll get the 5 yards right back. Coach, we talked about our talks that we had which Coach McLaughlin earlier, and he said, look, he said, and you've heard this story so many times to it, but between week 1 and week 2, Jamboree to week 1, that's where you get your biggest moves, and we know that these Rebels will get things straightened out. Snap back to – no, it's a direct snap once again. The Trojans ready for it. They've seen it in both the first 2 games, and quickly in there making some things happen. That was our first look at Rushing that got in there and made that stop, and he is a big one.
Yeah, between Rushing and Dozot, that's 2 pretty big hands up there in the interior of the line. They're going to have most teams going to have a tough time running up in the middle.
Christian Ray gets in there as well. So a lot of size along that defensive line this season for the Trojans, going anchored in the middle of it by Dozart.
Little question to be the inside linebackers. Of course, they had to be replaced. So, but they're sticking it
direct
up in there.
Direct snap once again, and the Trojans, nothing to it. Another yard, maybe they'll give him. 3rd down and 9, though. And the Rebels coach, you have to put the ball into the air.
Yeah, they're not going to move it, I don't believe, on the Ash defense like that. Of course, you got a wet field. I don't know. Hadn't seen them too much. I don't know what kind of passing game they got. I know they don't have too many receivers, so they're probably in a feeling out process to see where they are.
7.5 to go and counting until halftime. We'll upload the recording of this one, and that'll throw all of our witty or witless banter, if you will, into this one. We understand there's audio issues for it. Snap is back. Whitty's got a ball on the ground. He's got a fall on it, and here come those Trojans, and it'll be a punting situation once again. And it just, Coach, it seems like they're looking up a little bit because the pressure that this defense has been putting on, trying to get the snap back to you. And man, that exchange, that center quarterback exchange has been tough for the Rebels tonight.
Right, well, and you got Dozot and that big number 5 on your head there sometimes. That'll make you a little nervous as a center, so –
you think that might I agree with you. That'll have a little something to do with it as well.
Plus the ball's wet,
High snap again, brought back in. It's going to roll. Trojans will again have it in good position if they fall on it, and they do. That is 88. Kirkland Bates, the sophomore, that falls on that one, and we think the numbers now. Mud has taken over a lot of these uniforms, especially the younger guys that played. But, Coach, when we got out here, this field was all green.
Oh, it was beautiful.
And so, as a coach, you can't be real happy about that. And I know when they go on the road next week, but it's a lot of damage to a field.
Yeah, I used to be the maintenance man. I know about that. It's tough to come back. They'll have to roll it and hopefully get some dry weather to try to get it.
They're going to take a timeout here as we are at the 6-minute mark until halftime. We'll take it with them and be back right after this. You are watching high school football on 446 Sports.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
And we are back and ready to go. Trojans have it from the Rebel 49-yard line, 1st and 10 following the hydration timeout. Joe's got it. Quick pass to the far side to Mingo. Mingo trying to make a man miss and get down the sideline. And there he goes. Mingo inside the 30 to the 25, where it'll be another 1st down for the Trojans.
Joe hung that now, and I was worried about the guy stepping in front, but once Mingo got it, it was on.
You know, on a drier field, perhaps, it's tough to get that footing down on this one. You see kids slipping around everywhere they go.
It looks like Bates coming in the game. That's one with the big muddy.
Yeah, Kirkland Bates. So we saw the sophomore wide receiver. There's 2 to the near side and 2 to the top. play action there, and that one is almost intercepted as Joe put a lot on that one. The left-hander threw it low,
kind of misfired
and unable to get it to go.
Yeah, Kirkland Bates. I coached his daddy back in the day at Tioga. That tells you how. That's been a few years ago, and now his son's playing, so that makes me feel old, for sure.
Following the incompletion, 2nd down and 10. Joe to the near side. He's getting pressured and going to go down. Big inside move by the Rebels. Tremendous play right up the middle, coaches. He was just coming on the blitz, and Joe had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's the first time Pineville put pressure on, and they brought the linebacker on that one, I think. Let's see. Let me check where he's. Yeah, he's a.
Give him a loss of 6 on that one. 3rd down and 16. So loss of 6 officially. Back to the 41-yard line. Bordelon back to pass. He's looking to the outside. Again, that pass is bobbled in and out, nearly intercepted once again. But it's going to bring up 4th down. So the Trojans offense stalled on that one, led by that big blitz by the Rebels inside linebacker.
This is going to be interesting. I haven't seen. I don't know who does the punting. Do you know?
Joe did it last year. Some, remember a couple of years ago, Judd was kicking, but they'll go for it here, working on the play, maybe trying to get the offsides called, not going to get it there, the encroachment.
They're going to probably run the clock down and call timeout, if I was to guess. All right, no.
Back into their offense, 2 to the near side, 2 to the top. Bordelon back to pass, now throwing this one, going for all of it, going to overthrow the intended receiver, Jalen Johnson, and that's going to be a turnover on downs. Rebels will have their best field position coming out of that turnover on downs. So good job getting things going back by that Rebel defense.
Yeah, they stepped up that time, and that blitz that time when they looked like the outside linebacker came on a blitz and sack Joe. That put them behind the chains and give the Rebels good field position here.
Look, I'll tell you, there's this team is just as spirited as their head coach, Bryant Bell. Bryant, in his 2nd year here, has just been a boost of adrenaline for this school and this football team, and really has these Rebels playing well. Did that towards the second half of the season last year, and we'll settle in and get things going here before their trip to Winfield. Whitty back to pass. Here comes pressure by the Trojans, and they're going to get the big sack loss of, they'll give him 12 on that loss. And, Coach, we'll have to see who that's if that's Dozart. And, again, the mud is caking those numbers, and it makes it difficult. But it looks like Dozart was there. But really anybody could have had it as the pressure was coming.
Yeah, they put a good rush on that time. He was looking to go for the big score there, big bomb, and he just didn't have time to throw it.
2nd down and 21 as they've got to get just inside Trojan territory to get the 1st down. 4.5 to go until we take a halftime break in this Jamboree. In shotgun is Whitty. It's another direct snap, high snap, bouncing it to the outside, but there's that Trojan defense to shut things down.
Pineville's not getting any push out of their front guys on the offensive side of the ball, and a lot of it has to do, of course, with the Trojan defensive front. Like I say, those guys have some pretty good-sized hands, and they're not moving them off the ball at all.
You hear so many times controlling the line of scrimmage, and the Trojans have really done that offensively and defensively. The Rebel defense kind of adjusted to that on their last drive by the Trojans as that one was stalled. But you see, creating almost a second line of scrimmage behind the original is this Trojan line of scrimmage, or defensive line.
I think this is going to be the strong suit for them, that and the defensive secondary. Like I say, and if these new linebackers can step up, inside linebackers, the Trojans will be pretty salty again this year. Here comes a stunt.
3rd down and 20. Whitty going over the top. And there's going to be a flag that lies on the 45-yard line.
I got a defensive holding right there on the Trojans.
Could get a holding, could get a pass interference. We'll check the white hat. They call it. Needless to say, the Trojans will get another 3rd down. They'll get 10 yards out of this one. The Rebels will have it 3rd down again, and some of that sack yardage will come back. See if he calls that defensive holding or pass interference. What he's going to call, neither result in a 1st down in high school unless the yard to gain is made.
Yeah, I was fixing to say that if I'd been in pros or college, that would have been automatic first down.
We talked about that rule a lot in the rules meeting that we had prior to the start of the season, and no thoughts on changing that. That's one of the rules I think should. 3rd down and 11 from the 40-yard line go the Rebels. Trojan defense stacking up all within 8 yards of the ball, and Coach Bell gets a timeout. We'll take a 30-second timeout with him and be right back. You're watching Ash Trojan football on 446 Sports.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
And we are back to Bill Bates Stadium, Pineville High School. Rebels and the Trojans doing battle. And 3rd down and 11 following that 10-yard penalty. Again, the Trojans within 8 yards of the ball, playing up close, not believing they'll get beat on the pass. 2 receivers to the near side. Whitty back in the shotgun, but we've seen the direct snap. There's a little toss back to Whitty, and he's going to get swallowed up. Good work. John Parrish coming in and making that one.
Trying to do a little trickeration, didn't work at all.
Trojans not fooled on that, and they will actually be back further than they were prior to the penalty. And coming in to return, Darius Washington, the sophomore, stands back at the Trojan 45-yard line. Again, the center exchange, whether it's quarterback, direct snap, or what, has been difficult for the Rebels. Trojans will put pressure. We'll see if they come after it with 2:46 to go, leading this one. They do not. Set up the return, end-over-end kick. Washington's going to get this one, but beautiful play.
Number 4 for the Rebels, he was down there in a heartbeat. I tried to get his name right quick.
Nope, you got it.
Wrong one.
Yeah, that was great work. Charlie Carr, the senior, listed him as a wide receiver and a gunner for that defensive squad.
Come like a bullet that time.
Because I'm telling you, that's one of those kicks, if you get past the first guy, you don't know what happens. Yeah. But great work, Charlie Carr of the Rebels, to come in and make that play. Again, walk-ons, Giles Hyundai, Sadler's Towing, Valex Federal Credit Union, all big sponsors of ours. BK Distributors, Jason Hawk Farm Bureau, grateful to all of them. Joe, back and ready to go, 1st and 10, bringing somebody in motion, but the mud covers the number. It's going to be that handoff, and we believe that may be Bates that has it. Spinning and still going. Going to get a 1st down and still turning those legs. Got to be facing us, Coach, to get that number. It was an 80. We know that.
Yeah, see, my eyes ain't that good anyway, but.
Throw in a little bit of mud and some darkness, and who knows.
I believe it's just flat number 80.
That was Darius Washington, the sophomore. We saw him on the return. No, because Washington's to the near side, so that was Bates that had it, because you see the clean jersey of number 80 that's there. And coming now into motion and joining them outside is Matthew Crenshaw, the sophomore receiver. So 3 to the near side, 1 at the top. Joe back to pass. He's going to pump fake, but he's getting pressured. The lefty rolls to the left side.
Threw it away.
Ball gets to the line of scrimmage and outside the tackle box. A new rule that takes away the grounding. Last year, Coach, might have been grounding, but again, they've adapted the rule where he gets outside the tackle box, gets it to the line of scrimmage, and is able to throw that one away.
That's something Joe's going to have to work on, because he's got to have a clock in his head after about 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. You better be looking to get rid of it. He was lucky he didn't get sacked that time.
Following that big play by Cunningham that was a touchdown, the Trojans offense has stalled, and now here comes pressure again. Maybe a hold. Joe getting to the outside, but great work by this Rebel defense, and got to believe that you're going to see a hold against the Trojans. We'll look at it, and indeed it is. It comes from the middle of the field. And we'll see if they decline that one and just leave it where it sits at 3rd down. They're going to take the penalty and march it back.
I tell you what, Pineville defense is doing a pretty good job since the first couple of drives, and they've picked it up. Offense is a little suspect right now. But,
we talked if there was an Achilles heel, Coach, it was along that offensive line. They have replaced a lot of key players and leaders along that front line.
Yeah, you got that's they don't get all the credit, but they that's a part of the game.
Borderline with good time, tries to throw the crossing route over the middle and does. Good movement there, now trying to get to the outside. About an 18-yard pickup on that one.
Rebels went into a prevent defense that time. They only rushed 3 and then dropped 8, and Joe was able to pick up a crossing route that time.
Jimmy Duncan, the recipient of that one on the drag, the wide receiver drag. They go 3 to the near side, 1 to the top. Cunningham, the lone running back.
Got about 1:08 left in this first half, and Trojans call a timeout.
Timeout will be called. We'll take it with them and be right back. You're watching Ash Trojan football right here on 446 Sports.
For a lifetime of the best possible vision, look to Wallace Eye Associates, where our tradition of eye care excellence in Cenla spans nearly 40 years. From your next family eye exam to cataract and glaucoma evaluations, trust your vision to the experienced eye professionals at Wallace Eye Associates. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
We are back here to Sandy Canyon, DC Bill Bates Stadium on the campus of Pineville High School. And 2 really good drives by the Trojans to start things off. Stalled on the last one, and this one has been just as bad. They've been on the plus side of the field the entire game, it seems like. I don't know that they've spent much time on their own side of the 50 following that big loss and the penalty. Following the timeout, Joe looks to the near side, to the far side to the coaches. 2 to the top, 2 to the near side. Joe going down, trying to fit it in between a couple of defenders, and does, and that's a touchdown for your Trojans. Jalen Johnson goes up and gets that one, and just, Coach, on the money.
And picked it out between 2 defensive guys on top of that. It was a heck of a throw, heck of a catch.
Look, that is one of those that you just go, don't throw it, way to go.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, the only time I think Ash has actually been in their side of the field was they were on about the 46 there a while ago after the punt.
After the penalty that they had, too, pushed them back, but they come back and get it. So the Trojans, again, in this swinging gate, have yet to see them attempt an extra point, and I don't expect they'll be doing it here either.
Well, and you do stuff like this early in the season to make the other team have to prepare for it for the next game.
And they do bring a kicker back. Still doesn't mean they'll go for it. That's 25.
Bad snap. Yeah.
Yeah, and the bad snap is there. Coming in to kick was Van Dyke, and unable to get that. So 22-0 officially in this one, under a minute back in 30 seconds on 446 Sports.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier. Transactions are getting safer. And you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use. Anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
Back to live action when you go. 3 scoring drives out of 4 drives for the Trojans. This one down to the 15-yard line, and it bounces around. Going to have to fall on it there. Can't get back up, and that is where the Rebels will start their next drive, what we expect maybe the final drive for them of this half. Again, Coach, 2 15-minute halves in the Jamboree. 15-minute intermission, if you will. Yeah. Penalty flag is down on the field.
I didn't see that one, but let's see what offside. Hit him late.
And that's a tough call as the ball just falls on the ground. So you really
He didn't know to check up, and of course, he got kind of halfway, act like he was going to get up. So,
If you're the Trojans, you've got to stay focused on here. Saw a couple of times last year they would give up a touchdown late before a half and kind of give up a little bit of momentum. This year, looking to solidify that behind that strong defense, man in motion for the Rebels to the near side. Whitty calls for the ball. Again, that direct snap right into the teeth of this Trojan defense. And going to go down there. Clock will continue to run. Again, we saw that play, Coach, in the first couple of games, the JV and the freshman game. And Coach Bell and this Rebel offense looking to work on that and work on things as they get ready to open the season just north of here in Winfield.
Yeah, that time the linebackers did a good job of plugging the hole that time. And like I say, that's things are this time of the year. That's what you're doing. You're trying to see what will work for you and what doesn't. And so far, the Ash has had the better of it as far as the defensive front.
22 seconds remain, now down to 15, 13, and 12. And again, right up the middle, just trying to run the clock out. And there's going to be a personal foul that will be assessed on the Trojans. That flag came in, but there was no doubting it. Roughness is going to be called against Josh Marie.
Yeah, that's one of them stupid penalties, and the coaches are right up in his face right now, talking to him about it. That's a dumb penalty. Could be the end of the half right now, and instead they're gonna give him a free play.
They'll get one play there. That was unsportsmanlike conduct away from the injured player for the Rebels. There is a Rebel that is down, but it was far away from the play on the other side of it, and so the training crew for the Rebels will make their way out onto the field. Just to give you an idea of what we have coming up, Week 1 is just a week away. The Trojans will welcome in the defending 4A state champions, the Bears of Karen Crow, in that one, and that is going to be a tough game. Remember, Karen Crow's head coach, you'll look a lot like Acadiana in that one. Their head coach, the former offensive coordinator from Acadiana.
Oh, okay.
And so they come out there, as you can imagine,
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
With that offense and just try to wear you down. Don't forget, the Thomas Bachman Show returns Thursday night. We will be live from Walk-Ons at 7 o'clock. Eagles Nest Coaches Show with Coach Justin Charles. That will be Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Now, there still should have one play. They ran it on the ready, so it had not it had not ended, and that's why they didn't get the untimed down. So where the score is not officially kept in this one, the Trojans have scored on 3 of their 4 offensive possessions. The Rebels have yet to really spend any type of time on the other side of the 50-yard line. It's been a dominant performance by the defense of the Trojans. The offense coach has been pretty efficient.
Yeah, they've looked good at spots, and then there's some other areas they need to work on. And of course, they hadn't run the ball a whole lot. Of course, you don't expect them to run it a whole lot during the year anyway. They're primarily set up for the fast passing game, and that's the way most of the high school teams have gone, just like the college and the pros. It's a RPSO, they call it, run, pass, option, but most of the time it's pass, pass, pass.
Oh, great fun doing games with my buddy Coach Lott, and an RPSO sighting is what good to have him up here. So what has it been now? What is it, since November that we've been, so 8-9 months since we've been doing football. What have you been doing in the off season?
Man, I'm a driving fool. If it's got tires on it, I'm rolling it somewhere. It's just like everything else, Doug. You're in the city business now, working for the city, finding people that want to work, and in my case, I'm old and stuff, but I tried that retirement, and I got tired of being retired, so I took up a couple of driving jobs, and now I've got more driving jobs than I want because, they just can't find drivers. LSUA, I'm driving for Spangler Tours, I'm driving for the school. And then, of course, I drive a limo on top of everything else. So I'm staying pretty busy. And, of course, I do 4-6 sports now. So got a little something to do.
When do you have time for char-grilled oysters? I don't know.
Oh, well, that's part of the benefits of driving the limo. I get paid in char-grilled oysters.
Sounds like I need to start driving that. We're going to pay our bills. We're going to step away. Halftime is here. Again, no official score on the board, but if you're looking at things, it's 22 for the Trojans, and the Rebels have yet to get things going tonight. Great defensive performance by your Trojans. Offense has looked really good. Had one drive that they kind of stalled on it, but I attribute that to just good, solid pressure by the Rebels. What does the second half hold? We'll see when we come back. We're going to throw it back to halftime, and join us again in about 13 minutes. You're watching Ash Trojan football on 446 Sports.
It all started with a sketch on a napkin. An idea created by two walk-on bench warmers. And after 10 years of hard work and perseverance to turn their dream into a reality, it's the #1 sports bar in America.
Welcome to Walk On.
Walk-ons, because everyone needs a little playing time.
The fine folks at BK Distributors want to thank all the educators for weathering the storms, so to speak, through 2020 and beyond. Thank you for your dedication to our children. The end of the school year awards are now available. Any type of award, trophies, banners, plaques, they do it all at BK Distributors. So with school almost out, that means summer leagues are in full swing. New items, same great prices, and fast turnaround. BK Distributors, Highway 20 in East Pineville behind Arby's.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation. For a lifetime of the best possible vision, look to Wallace Eye Associates, where our tradition of eye care excellence in Cenla spans nearly 40 years. From your next family eye exam to cataract and glaucoma evaluations, trust your vision to the experienced eye professionals at Wallace Eye Associates. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
Buying car insurance for the first time can be overwhelming. Do you have enough coverage? Are you paying too much? Will someone be there for you when the unexpected happens? I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. You may think it's easier online, but why wait?
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use. Anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
68.
And we are back here at Pineville High School, home of the Rebels. Your Ash Trojans have scored on 3 of their 4 possessions and have held the Rebels out of the end zone. Coach, we talked about it a little bit before we went to the break, and it has been a near flawless performance out of the Trojans on tonight's contest.
Yeah, there's only a few areas that they probably need a little work. Of course, this early in the year, you're happy to see the performance that they put forth so far. Pineville, on the other hand, they got a lot of young kids, a lot of new positions to be filled, and they got some work to do.
They lose 23 players off of that team, seniors off that team from last year. But I'm telling you, the heart and the fight of this Rebel team resonates. Rebels rising is their credo over here. And man, I'm telling you, the rising up around Coach Bell and this coaching staff and this Rebel team, they're excited about the future in this one.
Well, and anytime you got new coaches and they got to adjust to players got to adjust to them, and system, they got to put new system in and all. So, they're going to come around before the season's over with.
Getting back ready to go. Trojans, of course, you remember, took the opening drive, 8 plays, 65 yards, and a touchdown, and only kept out of the end zone on 1 time. Crenshaw did a good job of kicking the ball. As you said, he gets it down to about the 15-yard line. That's one of the differences, because Trojans used to starting on the 20, getting that ball through the end zone. That is not there this year. They've had have been spoiled the last few years out of the kicker spot.
I'm surprised they hadn't gone. And surely there's a soccer guy over there somewhere that can kick the ball, but, he's doing a credible job. 15, that's not bad in high school.
Shows you how spoiled we are. Gets it back to the 15 again, and here come the Rebels. Ooh. Right up the middle, and a big stop on the special teams play. That for the Trojans was number 7, Josh Marie, the senior, and that's one of those really hard hitters. And we saw him come out in his freshman year and did such a good job rushing through the middle and getting that hit. Again, those of you that watched this one live and missed all of the audio, we apologize. If you're going back and watch this one again, hopefully you've watched it once we've uploaded the audio. Think it'll be a little bit better of a broadcast, and we'll get this all fixed out before we welcome in the Bears of Karen Crow next Friday night, and certainly before the Thomas Bachman Show on Thursday. Rebels set to go to work on their 30. Seen a lot of direct snaps in this one. We'll see what Coach Bell and those Rebels have, and it's the snap right up the middle. And just about a yard on there, Coach, but not getting much done out of that direct snap and that run up the middle.
Yeah, well, and like I say, you got a lot of young offensive linemen on the Pineville side. They're having to replace all those guys, and that's the key. They don't get a lot of credit, but at the same time, when they're not doing a job, of course, got to give credit to Ash. They got some big guys up front. It's going to be tough to move in anyway. Josh Marie, he'd get my slobber knocker award for that last hit.
That was a pretty good hit from Josh Marie. You're right about that. 2nd down and 9 for the Rebels from their 31, 22-0 if you're scoring at home. Direct snap now comes to the near side. Oh. There's a seam right up the middle, but brought down by that the second line coach, and that was that inside linebacker spot that you were talking about. That was a question early. Seemed to come up and make a pretty good play.
Yeah, he put the stop on him. Of course, that was a nice block by the lead blocker that time that gave him a hole to get through.
I don't know that many first downs have been attained by the Rebels coach. We don't actually have a score for it necessarily, but I don't think that they've if they have, it's just been 1 or 2 first downs for the Rebels. They are close at 3rd down and 3. That's a high snap back to Whitty, and that messed up the timing on that one, and that's not going to be the first down as the ball comes out. But after Whitty was down, and look, we talked about that. We saw that now last year a lot out of the Trojans. That quarterback-center exchange sometimes would give them some trouble. But back to work here, and that time it was the Rebels. And that throws off the timing of a quick hitting play. When you got it 3rd and 1, you're trying to bust something out there real quick. And now they find themselves 4th down and set to punt.
Well, and that's a disadvantage of the long snap and, you know, in the wet field and all that. But that's the thing now. Everybody's going to the shotgun snaps and stuff. And it's just something you have to work on.
That snap is back, and it's good. Gets that punt away. Fair catch called for and made.
That was a last-minute call. He's lucky
Darius
he didn't get nailed.
Right, Darius Washington on that one. And the Trojans will have it 1st down and 10 from the 42-yard line. Very efficient. 12.5 remaining in this one, 12:38 officially. Just 2 15-minute halves in tonight's Jamboree. Trojans have been very impressive throughout the night in that JV game, in the freshman game. I think the only touchdown they've given up this evening was that kickoff return.
Right. I'd like to see them work on the running game a little bit, because there's going to come a time when you're going to have that running game. Of course, they still sticking with the spread and the one-back set.
And they'll send the receiver in motion, allowed it to settle down just a little bit, and that is Cunningham that gets the ball up the middle. Yeah, when your running back, his jersey is not muddy on the back. Everybody else's, it's been into it. That means he's been falling forward and getting some aggressive plays out of him. Now the front of his uniform is completely muddy. Give him 3 on the play. 2nd down and 7. High snap, but Joe pulls it down. Cunningham's got it now. Makes a nifty cut up the middle and a 1st down. Rumbles out to the 40. Still banging around inside the 40 to the 37. And you've got a player down around the 42-yard line.
That was a nice counter play by the Trojans that time. Had kind of faked to the left side, and he cut it back to the right in the trap play, and it nice hole opened up for a 1st down.
Good vision by Cunningham, and that's what you talk about, being able to see where the hole is going to be, not just necessarily where it is at that moment, but where it's going to be.
Right.
12:03 remaining. Trojans looking to put their 4th touchdown of the board on during this drive. Timeout taken by the Rebels, as they had to do that for the injury. And that will send us to one. We'll take a quick one as well, but we'll be right back after this. You're watching Ash Trojan Football on 446 Sports.
It all started with a sketch on a napkin. An idea created by 2 walk-on bench warmers. And after 10 years of hard work and perseverance to turn their dream into a reality, it's the #1 sports bar in America.
Welcome to Walk On.
Walk-ons, because everyone needs a little playing time.
There you saw walk-ons in Alexandria. That's where we will be this Thursday for the inaugural edition of the Thomas Bachman Show. That is week 1. We'll talk about a little bit about the Jamboree and his thoughts on that. And we'll, of course, spend a lot of time discussing the Bears of Carencro that make their way in. We'll talk a little bit about the move to select, as everyone in Rapides Parish has done, and what that's going to mean in the playoffs. And this may be the earliest we ever get them to talk about the playoffs, but it will simply be to sort things out for us. 1st down and 10 for the Trojans from the 38-yard line. High snap once again. And Joe, the ball slipped out of his hand a little bit, unable to throw it, has to tuck it away, and he's going to be sacked for a 7-yard loss, and that's that wet, heavy ball, Coach, that we talked about.
Yeah, and once again, Pineville, if I counted correctly, is on play on 10 players. Now they got 11.
We saw that in that first couple of games. They were playing shorthanded a little bit.
Yeah, that's some of the things that, you have to work out some kinks and people being on the field in the right place and people knowing who's out. And when somebody goes out, you got to have a replacement.
They give them a loss of 5. Motion to the near side brings trip receivers this way. And they're going to get the Trojans
he lined up
for
on
encroachment.
The ball. #1 over here is standing on the ball.
And that's the one where you stand behind it, you look at the official and let him know if you're okay.
You asked him, am I okay? Am I okay? And he should tell you either back up or move up or whatever. And he's just about to do it again.
Trojans have lost 10 yards, one via the sack and that one on the encroachment penalty. Bordelon brings another man in motion. Now 3 receivers to the near side. Pumping, and hits that one in and out of the hands there. And
nice job by the linebacker. I almost picked it off that time. Or was that the safety?
That was
number 20, 25, 26 for the Rebels.
Yeah, that was got to believe Van Dyke that's out there.
It's a backer that stepped out in the flat. He almost picked that one off. I'd have been 6 if he'd have held on to it.
3 to the near side now, 1 to the top. Cunningham, the running back, they're trying to run the screen. It's set up perfectly, and that play is made there. That's just a beautifully timed screen. Out for the first down, now to the near side, 20 and 10, and he'll walk into the end zone. Perfect call, perfect play, touchdown Trojans.
Yeah, that's a little bubble screen. They used to run that on a regular basis last year. You know, it takes good timing, blocking downfield by your receivers, and they executed to perfection that time.
The blitz was on. The pressure was coming from that Rebel defense, and you saw it line up when the offensive lineman kind of let them through. You got to know that awareness, and we're able to slip right in for the touchdown for the Trojans following that. Give him a 46-yard touchdown pass to Bordelon. Shortest one he's thrown, but one of the longest ones on the books tonight, and now make it 28-0 officially as we watch for the 2-point conversion to come around.
Got an injured Pineville Rebel. I think it's just a cramp. It looks like they're trying to work it out.
Well, and that's with this humidity, and that's with early season. We see the conditioning start to come into play. It's just a hot, muggy night.
And they had to call an ambulance a while ago for somebody in the stands that got too hot and overheated. So, you know, it's the humidity. Sometimes people don't realize, you know, that's just about as bad as being 100 degrees if the humidity is at 99% and it's only 80 degrees.
Look, and it's been cooler this week, but when you're out there grinding and just playing, and it's so good to see that young man get up, and you see him favoring that leg, and it's stretched out trying to get the cramp out of it. Now we'll return back for what we believe is going to be a 2-point conversion, and we'll talk to Coach Bachman about this throughout the night also on Thursday. We invite you to come out and join us at Walk-On. It's going to be a lot of fun. Ricky Tompkins and that group always hospitable.
Got some
for
good
us.
grub out there, too.
Come out and eat. Coach Lott usually comes out. He won't ever get on the microphone, but he eats. Yeah. So, my goodness. There they go. Now they may attempt. They tried to do the extra point last time, and the snap was high.
Yeah, they're working on this. They need to work on it, too.
Snap is back, and it's bobbled around. And
yeah, that's that special team. You know, I was big last year on the special teams. That can mean difference in a ball game, whether it be extra point, you know, punts, kickoff, all those things make a difference. And, of course, here early in the season, that's something that they're going to have to work on.
It is. So the Trojans score on their opening drive of the second half and now lead this one 4 touchdowns. They don't keep scoring the Jamborees, but officially or unofficially we'll call it 28-0. Trojans with the lead. And the defenses on all 3 games tonight, Coach, have been solid. But you told me watching the Acadiana and Neville scrimmage that this defense was pretty solid, and they've shown that.
Yeah, they did a good job except for a couple of I can't remember which one it was.
Neville had the big run against them, but that was again, I talked to the coaches on that, and that was about 8 or 9 plays into that set. They run 8 plays in a row defensively, and so it just caught them on the inside of it. Defense wasn't rested. He said, we'll make adjustments to that.
Yeah, they caught him on a little inside trap right up the middle, and, of course, there wasn't nobody left but the safety, and he was a little out of position. So, he broke a long run. But overall, they looked pretty darn good.
Kick is up, and it rolls around onto the ground, bobbled it around by the Rebels, and that allows that Trojan kick coverage team to get down there, and will start inside the 20. Coach, he's kicking it a little bit higher and allowing his group to get down there. Might not go into the end zone, but it starts back on the left side of the 20.
Yeah, anytime your coverage team's within a couple of 2 or 3 yards of the ball, and then, they're not going to have much room to run, so it's just about as effective because they're starting right at the 20-yard line or almost. So, that's just as good as kicking it in there and so.
Glad that you've joined us tonight on 446 Sports. Those that watched it live, we apologize for the audio snafu. If you went back and watched the recording of it, then you'll be able to hear all of the wisdom or lack thereof that was imparted upon you this evening. Trojans have been in command. We'll have it worked out. Week 1 is next week. You'll be able to follow Menard in their broadcast with Tom Boucher and David Perkins. You'll get Scott Mills on the call for Buckeye, and Coach Lott and I will follow all the Trojans all season long. And stopped in the backfield, good pressure again, as it's been just all night long. That penetration by the Trojan defense has been there.
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed with the defensive front for the Trojans. And you got to understand, too, that Pineville has got a lot of new offensive linemen out there. So, they got some work to do, but they're going to get better as the year goes on, and they'll be competitive, I'm sure.
Indeed, they will. You know that they'll get right back to work in the morning. Those coaches will be watching film after they wash all these uniforms, or while they're washing them.
Yeah, I remember those
sure.
days.
The muddy nights of washing, getting back. So it'll make for a little stinky bus ride back to Alexandria. Thankfully, it's not very far. There's good pressure up the middle again by this Trojan defense, and nothing doing.
Now, then, Pineville Rebels are not moving the line of scrimmage at all. Right now, Ash is dominating the line of scrimmage.
Picking up another yard to make it 3rd down and 8. Big shout out to my man Roger Walker. He's been on the camera for us tonight, and he gets the best dressed award in the press box without a doubt. Sporting the hat and the bow tie, and Raj looking good as always.
Glad they didn't put the camera on us, huh?
Right.
That's a shame.
And he's running both cameras tonight too. That's what's impressive. He's able to do. We've got a pole that's right in the middle of us, the way the press box is set up, and so that explains a couple of different camera switches that you see inside the 30, and there's another lost ball.
Well, you got to understand, he's from Tioga, man. He don't know nothing about no.
Well,
fixtures.
it's something right here. Look, I'll show you what it is. Let's go right here.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
That's a pole, and it's
That's
in the
a pole,
way.
Yeah.
It's a window frame or whatever it is. It's out of focus, but you get the idea of what it is. Let me see if I can zoom out and show you. See, that's the dilemma that we have, and why we have the extra camera is because of this thing right here. So.
Well, at least we're inside, and
I digress.
It's not getting rained on and stuff. I'm happy about that.
Indeed. Back to punt are the Rebels.
Don't get me started on these press box, because Ash could definitely use a new one or some renovation.
That one bounces around. Trojans having to get out of the way.
And they'll start on the Pineville side of the 50 once again.
8:21 remaining in this second half. Great crowd that made it over, and that's why Coach Bell and Coach Bachman wanted to resurrect this rivalry in the Jamboree. You know, they split the gate in these Jamborees, and so they'll do a home and away, if you will, during the season. So this Jamboree game being here at Pineville lets you know that the Week 8 matchup will be at Ash.
Right.
And then next year the Jamboree will be played at Alexandria, and the game will be here at D.C. Bill Bates Stadium.
Yeah, I don't know what they charge, but it's a nice crowd, like you say, and all them dollars add up because, man, sports is expensive. People don't realize to suit a football player nowadays, just one, somewhere between $300 to $400 per player. So you can imagine, not to mention, travel expenses, buses.
Well, diesel
gas,
fuel,
diesel
getting
fuel
everywhere.
at $4 and $5 a gallon. It's tough.
But it's good to see everyone out. The kids love it, the fans love it, the band is out, the support teams, the cheer, the dance. Everyone is out making a Friday night. And a lot of times in the past, you didn't see Jamborees that had this much support out of them.
And it's good to see all these fans out here. And like I say, as muggy and hot as it is, they still showed up, and that says a lot for both schools' spirit.
Indeed, it has 8:21 to go in this one. Trojans back on offense. You'll probably see Joe go the distance. If anything, you may see Wilson come in a little bit, but you just want to get work, especially with those two games prior. Joe, snap throw to the near side. It's complete. Looking for some running room to the outside. 30 now, 25 and driven out of bounds.
Should have been a penalty. He hit him about 2 or 3 yards out of bounds, but it was not called. Of course, it's hard to see where the sideline is, especially when you're going full speed, but he picked up the first down on about the 26, 27-yard line.
We heard a lot about Eric Jones, who had the reception there. First down and 10 for your Trojans as Joe in that offense looks over at Coach Bachman and the offensive coaches signaling the play in as we near the 9 o'clock hour on this one. 7:54 and counting here, second half. Borderland's got 2 to the near side, 2 to the top. Looks to his left, throws that one down the seam, and it's complete. Inside the 5, down to the 3 and the 2.
Nice double pump by Joe then. He started to hit him right off the bat, and then he let him clear the linebacker and stuck it in there.
Already, Coach, one of the things that I've noticed is that Joe has not left the ball high like he did last year often. The ball would sail on him. Looks like he's following through with his throw just a little bit more. The lefty stands back there in the shotgun. He's got Harrington off to his left. Handoff goes to Cunningham, and he's going to get into the end zone easily. Touchdown, Adeline Cunningham. Touchdown, Trojans.
That's that little counter play with the they started out to the left side, cut it back to the right, and I'm not sure where they're trapping him or fold blocking on that side, but he's got a big hole to run through. Got to give credit to the offensive line. That's a lot of new faces for the Trojans out there on the offensive line, and they're doing a good job.
Just a couple of drives, if I can count back, Coach, that the Trojans have not finished off with touchdowns. So it's been a really solid night, and it looks like that offensive line has just gotten a little stronger as they went along.
Yeah, I got to give credit to Coach Bachman and his staff. You know, we had to replace offensive and defensive coordinators, and so far, you know, hadn't missed a beat.
They close up the swinging gate, and it's still got to work on this center holder exchange, trying to get a clean extra point. That one is up, and it is good. Trojans with another touchdown, add to the lead. We'll be back. You're watching Ash Trojan football right here on 446 Sports.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
Back to action we go, Coach, and still 7-17 remaining in this one. And it has been all Ash. Got 5 touchdowns on the board. Finally converted the extra point. You're glad to see that. And it's just things like that that you work on. A couple of things that stand out to me. The offensive line has grown up. Defense has been suffocating, and Joe has got a lot of zip on that fastball that he throws.
Right, and he is a pitcher. Speaking of fastball, he does play on the baseball team, so he got some zip on the ball, but he has shown a lot more touch tonight than he did last year.
Kickoff bounces around, now picked up at the 5 and the 10, and there's that Trojan coverage. And so, again, not putting the ball into the end zone, but having good success kicking the ball a little bit higher and letting his special teams unit get on down there. Now Crenshaw chunks the tee off to the field and will stay out there and come in and play defense. So you're seeing some of the younger guys get some varsity reps in here as they put this one in the books and get ready for week 1 versus Karen Crow.
Yeah, this looks like the JV secondary and linebackers and defensive front's all been changed. So that's all the JV team out there right now, except for maybe a couple of linemen might be.
And good to see these snaps. And, you know, a lot of times, Coach, I'll tell you in these games I get texts from old buddy Blake Morrison. Haven't heard from him tonight because he's up running the clock and working officiating. So good old Blake. Welcome Adams Pest Control to our sponsorship starting next week, though. We'll have them on.
A little plug.
That's right. We'll have them on board. Always good to see. Look, met with a lot of the officials before the season, and going over some of the new rules and things like that. Still a lot of opportunities. Just search LHSAA officials if you want to get into the game. A lot of folks coming here new, and here's a chance to get involved and get back out there. You'll have a good time, make a little bit of money, and get back in the game.
Yeah, and if you're a former athlete, and it's a way of staying around and staying in the game. The young guys, especially just out of college, or even older guys that played the game at one time, or you don't even have to play the game. Just be interested in sports.
High direct snap again, and the timing has just been off throughout. That's going to keep the Rebels behind the chain. Is give him officially a yard loss on it. Will make it 3rd down and 16. Getting to the 6-minute mark, and they'll see if they stop it or if they keep it going. They will. They'll stop it there. That's going to be the hydration timeout. We'll take it with them and be back right after this. You're watching Ash Trojan Football on 446 Sports.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use. Anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
And we are back live in that intermission, getting to have a little bit of fun with our buddy Randy James, who is the voice of these Rebels. He will follow Wildcat football on Saturdays, being the voice of the Wildcats right up the road at LCU. And don't know that there's many people that bleed Pineville blood more than Randy James does. Very spirited. If you come out and catch one of these games, and you will have a blast. Just sit back and enjoy.
And he keeps the crowd into it because he's forever saying, "Let's go, Rebels! Let's hear it from your Rebels!" And they're getting into it. That's good.
Fantastic job, our buddy Randy James. Getting back to action here.
40-second clock must have been running out. Or were they short too?
Rebels will take a timeout. We'll keep it right here, and that's got to frustrate you a little bit. You come out of a timeout and are unable to get the playoff. But again, it's early. The scrimmages were one thing. They were controlled scrimmages. So you didn't have a lot of yes, they had to play clock, but the coaches were on the field and they were guiding everything that went on. This is a little bit more like what you'll see, but still just early season things that you have to work out.
Right, and you get signaling from the sidelines and, players not going in when they should be in and that kind of thing. Those are all things that logistics you have to work out, and that's what you get in the early season games.
Next week, you can follow these Pineville Rebels up to Winfield, and Mayor Rich Dupree, great to say that, and Councilman Nathan Martin will be calling that one. That one is.
That should have been pass interference there. Yep.
And they will. They'll throw the flag. That'll be 10 yards. Still will not give the first down, though. That's
from the line of scrimmage in high school.
That's correct. But you can follow them. They'll be on LA 103.5 and streaming on their Facebook page. So make sure if you're following the Rebels, you check them out there. 7 teams will be covered in our area between the 4 from the Stevens Media Group stations. They'll cover Tioga, they'll cover Pineville, they'll cover Grant, and they'll cover Voiles. We, of course, on the 446 Sports family of channels, we'll have Menard, we'll have Buckeye, and, of course, you can follow your Ash Trojans all the way to the Dome this season, exclusively on 446.
That's something that, years ago you were lucky to get 1 or 2 games on the radio every now and then, and, with the Facebook and all that.
Now we'll have 7 teams every week.
Everybody can watch their favorite team.
So we've had an opportunity to talk, just mention it briefly, Coach. They passed a rule that shows this year that if you've got open enrollment in a parish, you go to the select. So what that's done is you used to see schools like, we'll take Grace Christian in this area, Menard in this area. They would play in their respective districts and then go over to the select side of it for the playoffs. Division I is where the Trojans will go, and every team in Rapides Parish will end up playing in the select playoffs. 16 teams is all that makes it, so you're going to find there's a run to the near side, big-time run, and gets the first down. But only 16 teams make the playoffs in Division I, so it's going to be a battle all along the way for those power rankings. And used to, if you finish in the top 16, you got a home playoff game. Now you got to finish not only in the top 16 but top 8 to get a playoff game. And you're in there with the likes of a John Curtis and Edna Carr and Warren Easton and Rummel and Jesuit and those schools, Catholic of Baton Rouge.
I have a problem with it only because they waited last minute to do it. If they'd have done it, early in the year, but they waited till schools almost started and to make this decision, and the principals didn't have any say about it. So
high direct snap again. Going to be looks like we think holding coming from the head referee there. The white hat throws that one in. But again, and so it was the executive committee that voted on it. Didn't go out to the whole body, I don't believe. And so that's going to be, we'll see how that goes after football season. And it is holding is the call against Pineville. That'll back them up. But, man, I don't know. It makes that Division I really, really solid. But now 5A has 32 teams getting into the playoffs still in 5A. I think it waters that down quite a lot.
Yeah. Of course, your West Monroes and Ruston and people like that, basically they're the only school in the parish, so to speak. Of course, not West Monroe, but Ruston, for example,
Ruston, Washita, West Monroe.
Football schools. So, and here we got, 6 or 7 football schools in the parish, and kids could go from one place to another, but for the most part, best of my knowledge, there's probably maybe 2 or 3 athletes that have changed and gone somewhere else after they've started school, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's you got to play, and you talk to Coach Bogman and you get the same response from him you do just about any time. Spot the ball. And let's go out and play. And they'll play in front of anybody. And this is what we wanted. You want the best of the best out there battling for it. You don't want watered down. I take a look as we get into the further part of the season, teams 20 through 32 in the playoffs in 5A. And I just got to believe you're going to see some bigger blowouts in those first few rounds.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to tweak it some, I'm sure.
Back to action, another snap that's bobbled, and that's just going to allow pressure right up the middle by the Trojan interior line. And so that was one of the rules. You saw it was 10 yards from the spot of the foul is where the holding was whistled from. So it may be a 10-yard penalty, but because it happened behind the line of scrimmage, it worked out to about a 13 to 14-yard penalty.
Well, that one, and we were talking about the other one where the pass interference calls in high school, it's only a 10-yard penalty. And
the holding call hurts you way worse than a pass interference that could have saved a touchdown, because you hold there 2 or 3 yards deep, you're 13, 14 yards behind the chain.
Right.
You're beat by a guy for a 50-yard touchdown, and you tackle him, the ball comes back just 10 yards. So just want to get some semblance of those rules that sort it out. And these officials call it a 5-man squad, doing a great job calling tonight. That screen is set up. Good backside pursuit. There's a little bit of a hold there, and they'll call that, so whatever it is comes back. Good job from the near side. And you saw that kind of develop, but it was more as the runner was coming back, it turned your player around, and I think he just grabbed hold just because he was going to get run over.
Right. That was one of them situations where he just got him in a bad position, and that was a good job of execution otherwise by the Pineville Rebels. First time they've run the screen tonight.
See, that's look. I get, and that's one thing that I've talked about this year, is that I'm going to not talk as much with my hands as I do, because one, the reflection in the screen, but when you get a play like that, I I was going to use the window as a telestrator, but they told me don't mark up all over their window this year. So we're not going to do that. Another timeout on the field. We'll keep it right here because I do want to get into a little bit more of the season. You know, last year the Trojans won a lot of games early on. Their power rating it was rather low because strength of schedule, and you don't know what the teams, coach, are going to do. You don't know the wins and losses that the other teams that you schedule 2 years prior are going to do. But this year, a step up in class. They open up with the defending 4A state champs in Karen Crow. Week 2, they take a trip down to Lafayette to St. Thomas More. 3, they'll go up I-49 to Natchitoches Central. Week 4, down to East Ascension. Week 5 is homecoming, and that's probably the easiest of the first 5 weeks.
So by the time they get to district.
Time to get to district play, they'll be well tested.
But, of course, that don't really matter now because they're going to be in the select. It's going to matter where they get the wins, basically.
And you have the benefit good running there, and they're going to get another hold on the Rebels that time and probably going to decline that one and bring up the 4th down. But the only good thing about that type of district with the West Monroe, with Ouachita, with Pineville, with West Ouachita in it, you're going to get the power points out of it because there will be a lot of wins out of all of those teams.
That's the best thing that they've done. You know, that's the change that for back when I was coaching in football and basketball both. You know, you could be 35-0 in basketball, but you played Sisters of the Blind and everything like that. Your record really didn't indicate the kind of schedule you had. So a lot of teams would make it to the playoffs and wouldn't be very good. But now with the power points and stuff, you play tough teams, you get more points, and therefore when you get to the playoffs, you get a higher ranking. And if you play the weak Sisters, of course, you may be 35-0, but your power points is not going to be very good.
And you know, they didn't know any of that when the scheduling was made either. And Coach Bachman had beefed up that schedule because of how low they were in the power ratings last year. But I'm telling you, you've got to be in the top 16 to make the playoffs this year, and that's going to be tough. That ball punted away and brought down. Good coverage again by this Pineville special teams. The Rebel special teams has been solid out there tonight. That's one thing that I have noticed. But we'll see maybe if we get Bradley Wilson out there. If that's going to do it for Joe Bordelon, we don't know. Got to believe it is. I see Bradley getting loose on the sideline. He is the junior quarterback. Saw him in that first JV game. And, in fact, he does make his way out onto the field. Bradley Wilson, the junior quarterback.
Got a whole new offensive group out here, it looks like, too. Offensive linemen, backs, and everything.
I don't know. Them jerseys are pretty muddy like they've been out there for a while, though. They could have been out there in that JV game.
Yeah. Well, and you got a minute 35 here, so we're going to see what the second bunch do.
Minute and a half to go in this one, 35-0.
Uh-oh. Coach going to be upset somebody didn't get on the field like they should.
All settled in, 2 to the top, 1 to the near side. Lindsay in the backfield with Wilson, and that's a direct snap. Bobbles off of the head of Lindsay and into the arms of Wilson, and that's going to be officially recorded as a sack, but that one really didn't look good from the get-go.
Yeah, well, I don't know who the center was, but that was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball
It was coming. Officially a 6-yard loss there, second down and 16, minute 13, and you hear the clocks slow to stop and quick to start.
Yeah, he was the center was probably a little pumped up that time too, so he definitely zipped it back there.
1 minute remaining, 1 minute here in the second half of this one. It has been all Trojans tonight. They lead this one 35-0. Still will be some things to work on. Inside handoff is there. Interesting to talk to Coach Bachman. I'll get a chance to talk to him after the game. One of the things we're going to do at our home games this season is we'll do a post-game show from down on the field with Coach Bachman and a couple of the players. We're going to start that week 1 against Karen Crow. Grateful our executive producer, Chuck Perkins, able to pull that off and move things from the press box to the field so quickly.
Getting a little kudos over there, huh?
That's because the look he was giving me because I just broke that news to him now live and on the air. Now, as long as we can get connected, he says. That's right. 13 seconds, the Trojans take a timeout and looking for. And I'm telling you that these coaches, Bachman, Coach Bell, all of them, they will coach to the very last second that's on there. And you do that because this game absolutely means nothing in there. You're working on getting ready for week 1. We've told you the Rebels will travel up 167 to Winfield, and they'll face the Tigers and look for them to come out and have a great ball game there. Again, Rich Dupree, Nathan Martin will be on the call of that one. And then I think they've got Menard. They've got in week 2, Tioga week 3. So a great start to the season with a lot of great teams on the schedule for the Rebels. The Trojans, we told you, will host Karen Crow next week. We'll talk all about that Thursday night on the Thomas Bachman Show live from Walk-Ons. Bradley fakes the handoff. He's rolling around and throws that one. Didn't get his body squared up. 7 seconds remaining, so they'll have one more shot and want to see if.
Yeah, he's rolling to the right, tried to throw back against the grain a little bit, just didn't have enough zip on it. Guy was open, but he just couldn't quite get it to him. We're going to get one more play here for the end of the ball game unless something happens with a penalty.
And this is 4th down. And again, for those that are watching saying, why are they coming out throwing the ball? These younger guys, they're just working on things because it's all for real next week. This one doesn't reflect on the record whatsoever. Bobbled snap, handoff is the middle. Not going to get there. Clock's going to run out graciously, and that will wrap things up here from D.C. Bill Bates Stadium, Sandy Canyon, here in Pineville across the expressway from beautiful Bulow Lake. And, Coach, big night for the Trojans tonight.
Yeah, they look good. Like I say, they've got a few things they need to work on, but overall I was impressed with how well they played. Pineville's got several areas that they got to work on, and like I say, they're young and inexperienced, so they'll get better as the season goes on.
And we will too. We'll get our audio for you live next week. This will be recorded, so only those that watched it today will know that there wasn't any audio. It'll be back up. Our man Chuck does a great job of getting that done. Season's for real now, Coach. This one is over. It is officially week 1.
Yep. Look forward to a nice long season, and hopefully good season for the Trojans.
Well, there you have it. Trojans win this one 35-0. Great performance by their JV, by their freshmen, and now the varsity finishing things off here from Pineville. We'll see you next Thursday out at Walk-Ons. We go live at 7 o'clock. Join us there if you can't make it out to Walk-Ons. And then Friday night we will go on the air at 6:30 for our pregame show. Kickoff will be at 7 o'clock. That's going to wrap it up for my man on the camera, the best-dressed cameraman in the business, Roger Walker. My executive producer, Chuck Perkins. Chuck, thank you for everything that you do. He said he's never felt more like a producer than he has these last couple of weeks getting all of our crews up and going. We've added Menard this year. We've added Buckeye this year to our 446 Sports family and could not be more happy about that one. My man Ernie Lott, Coach, off to another season. This is your 76th season to call sports in the booth. And you see how it grows like that. Always a pleasure to have you up in the booth and look forward to a great season.
I just enjoy being around the game, and this is one way I can do it. I can't do it on the field no more, but at least I get to watch the game and analyze it a little bit.
Well, for all of our sponsors and all of those that watched around there, thank you. We'll see you down the road. I am Doug Gann. God bless you all and good night. We'll see you next week on 446 Sports.